Are your sales reps underperforming? Well, that might just be because of your sales leader. My name is AJ. I'm the co-founder and CEO of ProLine. And in this interview, I sit down with Chuck Thokey of TopRep and talk about why he coaches the sales leaders first and why your team should be closing at least 50%. Let's get into it.
We are here at the International Roofing Expo, and I'm sitting down with Chuck Thokey of TopRep. Thank you for joining me, Chuck.
Thanks for bringing me out, man. This is awesome.
Absolutely.
This show has been fantastic.
It's been so busy. I mean, I think, I don't know, were you at the last year, as I imagine?
I wasn't here last year, no.
Okay. We were, and it was busy, but not like this. I think this is the busiest IRE I've seen, and I've been to probably the last 5.
Yeah. It's definitely been busy. I've probably not been to an IRE in like 2-3 years, but my team has, and even our VP of sales this is probably one of the biggest she's seen.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I feel like after COVID, a lot of shows kind of died, and it took 5 years, 5.5 years, but I feel like we're back.
I mean, home shows are coming back. Your art shows and RV, all the shows are starting to come back. Yeah. And they have been coming back over the last 3 or 4 years. COVID kind of went away. We finally got rid of it, and now everybody's back. And the shows, everybody wants to get back together. The conventions are doing well. Yeah, so it's I'm very happy to see that. I mean, I love Zoom, and I love to be near my family, but I also love being around the people.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I think there's some technology fatigue going on.
There really is.
Yeah, it's like everyone's working remote. Everybody's chronically online now. And so it's like this is refreshing.
Yeah.
Just be around people.
I'm just glad we're not doing this through Zoom.
Right? Yeah. It's a lot better in person. I think a lot of people watching will probably know, but why don't you just give a quick rundown on TopRep just for benefit of those that don't?
Yeah, so TopRep is a sales and sales leadership coaching platform. We're coaches first, trainers second. Everybody thinks that we're the big trainers, and we do train a lot, but we're mostly coaches, and we deal more on the sales leadership side. So the reason why our clients are so successful and sustainable is because we center ourselves around the leadership, because we want to train the trainer. We want to make sure that they have what they need to continue after I leave. It's like you had that tail light guarantee. When I leave, my training leaves with me many times. And so I need that sales leader to know what they're supposed to do, so that when I leave and I'm going to the next company, that they can take their team and keep moving in the right direction. And all I need to do is do some checkups, meet with that sales leader. I don't always have to meet with the sales team. And but the other thing that we do is we have our boot camps. So that's twice a year. And what's nice with the boot camps is it's an experience. They come and they get trained, but everybody says the training's great. It triples their production, it triples their close rates, but it's what we call dog fights that they see. That's where the magic happens. That's where we have all 300 attendees, where they will break up into groups of 6, and they role play, and they all get graded from that. And then we end up with our top 10 and, of course, our top rep. So that's where the boot camps come in. But we have our one-on-ones, we have our platform or the membership, and everybody that comes into the membership says, we've never seen anything like this. We've all seen the video training and that kind of stuff, but the way that we do it is different. I told when we first started this platform, I says, I refuse to do the same thing that everybody else, where it's nothing but video training, and it's like the Walmart safety videos. You turn it on and just let them go. So it's a membership. We have group training, we have sales accelerator, where we will train your new and underperforming reps once a month. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into what we do.
That's wonderful. I mean, the robustness of what you guys offer and the support you guys offer has been incredibly impressive to us, which is why you're always our number one recommendation when it comes to sales training here at ProLine. Where it's like TopRep is where you go.
Right.
I actually sat down with Mike at RoofCon. I mean, we were talking about this. But yeah, what you guys do is incredible. What would you say? I love the focus too on the sales leaders. You can give a man a fish, aka train their sales team, or you can teach them how to fish.
That's exactly what it is.
And so you're teaching the leader how to then train their sales team, right? What would you say is the number or the top 3 mistakes that you see sales leaders make that are undermining their sales team's performance?
So, I was just talking with a client of ours this morning. They wanted to sit down, and they're talking about their sales leader, and as I asked this, I need you guys to stop for a second because nothing you're saying is good. You know, it sounds like the sales leader was brought in under false pretenses. He grew the sales team. He did grow the sales team, but at a detriment of just poor management. You know, it was under a whip. You know, and it's like you don't have to do that. You can have strong management, and everybody still loves their job. You know, you can have strong management, and they don't feel like they've gotten a knife put in their back. So again, that's one of the things that we look at is who is your sales manager, and should they be the sales manager? We have very few times where we come in and say, okay, you need to fire your sales manager and find somebody else. But there are those times. Now remember this, is that your sales leader, they set the tone for the sales team. But here's the issue is that the sales team sets the tone for the entire company. So everything shifts. And I know that I'm sitting here talking to everybody, and these sales leaders now realize how much power they have because the sales leader has more power than the owner himself or herself. So
that is very insightful. I'm realizing this is like, it's, you know, James on our team leading our sales team, and it's so true. I mean, the culture of our sales team comes from James, and then that's really setting the tone for the whole org. It is incredible, actually. So it doesn't even just apply to contractors. I think that's in general.
We have a client, and they're a very new client of ours, and they're $60 million, and everybody inside the organization hates each other. I mean, literally, they hate each other. And I'm like, you guys are literally on a shoestring. You know, just a one wrong move from this enormous company coming crashing down.
Yeah.
And so just in the short time that we have had them, we've completely turned their culture around through a new company called Propel. You know, we brought in Propel because we knew that that's what was needed to turn this destroyer around.
Yeah.
This big battleship. And again, we have access to other companies, other coaches, whatever we need, we can bring them in as what we call our champion coaches. They're not completely inside of TopRep. But like if somebody says, well, we really need help with our CSRs, our phone team, we're bringing Megan Beatty up. She's the best in the world, not just the best in the country. She's the best in the world. Yeah. And we have the ability to bring Megan in. We have the ability to bring Deshaun in, to bring, you know, John C. I mean, there's a lot of these people that we can bring in to help you with certain things. You know, obviously, if it's a bigger issue, you veer off and go to them completely. But if it's something small, we can bring them in to help kind of right the ship as we need to.
Yeah. So it sounds like number one thing that needs to get focused on is identifying, do we have the right sales leader in place?
Yes.
And then after that, it's looking at, okay, what gaps do they have? And then filling in the right solution to fill those gaps?
Yes. And then we train the sales reps if we even need to. Many of our organizations, we've never actually talked to the sales reps.
Wow.
You know, they have our system, but once we get done, and they all started with, well, we want you to come in and really help our sales reps. Once I get done with the sales leader, or once Mike or Brian or whoever's working with them gets done with their sales leader, that sales leader, they're like, you know what? I think I got this. And it's like, that's what we want to hear. Because if you're still being coached by us and you need help, we can jump in and do whatever we need to. But we want them to be the hero. You know, even when we send you our manuals and stuff like that, we logo it with your logo, not ours.
Yeah. So, that's fantastic. So you're really empowering them. You're like, the focus is not a top rep coming in and training the whole sales team. It's empowering that leader to be the best version of themselves and be able to show up for their team and then invest in their team. That way you guys can move on to the next client, next situation, but then that team is going to thrive.
Right.
You're putting in that structure. I love that. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about tracking. So recently you posted on Facebook about close rate, and that started a firestorm. There was a lot of discussion. You were saying that companies need to be pushing for that 50% close rate, and that they're not happy with 30%. So can you talk through just that why is it that companies need to be holding themselves to that 50% goal?
Well, I mean, it all is really based on your NSLI, and you need to know where your NSLI needs to be to where's your break even with your NSLI. So when a sales rep's at 3,500 NSLI, and you realize that's your break even, that means that he is break even for your marketing. You have your big marketing spend, whatever it is you're spending. And if he's at 3,500, that means that I'm not making money on what his production is, and I'm not losing money. But once he goes below that 35, and I'm just using 35 as a number. Everybody's is different based on their spend and their close. Yeah. But if they go below that, now that sales rep, and I don't care how good he's doing, he's costing us money.
Yeah.
His position is now costing us money. So that's why good sales managers understand their numbers. It's not all about a close rate, But here's the thing with close rate is that if you're what you're going to do is you're going to be really happy with a 30% close rate, your profitability better be off the charts. If either you're not spending anything on marketing, or your profitability on that is 60, 70%. Right? If you're going to be at 30% close.
You got to compensate by having much higher margins.
Yeah. And that's not a bad thing, because less warranties and more profit, that's not a bad thing. Now, your sales rep may not be happy with that because it's less pay for them, but as an owner, I'm pretty happy with, less warranties and higher profit. I get it. But when I'm bringing people in, I ask all my sales reps, hey, you're going to get a lot of leads. You're going to get a lot of leads. And because we're retail, so, we got a lot of lead babies, if we want to use terms like that. And I'm going to ask them, say, can you at least close half? Can you at least close half of what I give you? Everyone is like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I be able to do that? I'm like, I just want to know. Because if you can't, I don't need you.
Yeah.
I need them first to start out with the feeling that you're only needing me to close half.
Yeah.
And then you go back and you're like, that's a 50% close. I only need you to close half. That's a 50% close.
It's the reframe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, it's just half.
Right.
Yeah.
People need to understand also that, isn't it weird that a sales rep, month after month after month, comes in at, let's say, 30 to 35%, month over month over month.
Yeah.
I don't understand, because their leads are different. So maybe one month they might be 50%, maybe the next month they might be 25%, maybe they got lesser quality leads, whatever. It was luck of the draw, and they really worked hard, but their close rate went into the toilet. I get it. But then their next month they went them to 40 or 50%. That's, for me, I'm like, okay, this sales rep is going for it. But if a sales rep is consistently hitting 30, 35, 30, 35, that means that their thermometer's turned out. That is okay to them. They're a good enougher. Parking lot rep is what we call them, that they're just skating through.
Yeah.
Now, it's nice to know that they're a consistent rep, but I'd rather them be consistently closer to 50%.
Yeah. You're going to be consistent somewhere. Consistent at a high performing point.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't care what industry you're in, you should be closer to that 50%. You really should be. And we have organizations. We had somebody that reached out to us in DMs on that, like, hey, can I speak to some of your companies? And I'm like, no. If you want to understand how that works, I could give you the names of the companies, but what I'm not going to do is, have them hook everybody up, unless they're clients of ours. Then yes, we've done that many, many times. Yeah. One thing that we really like to do is, if we have a company that's underperforming and there's another company that's doing really well but very similar to them, it wouldn't make sense for us to say, I'm going to take a small company and I'm going to go out and get Zach Willard from Lifetime Quality. They're not even in the same ballpark.
Not going to help each other.
No, or Todd Special from Apex. It wouldn't even make sense.
Yeah.
But those two would be good because they're both over $100 million, right? So, but we get some of these smaller organizations, one's doing really, really well, but they have the same background. So when I put them together and let them coach each other, that, all boats, they rise to the top, right? So that's one thing that we do like to do when we get that opportunity.
Get that opportunity. It completely makes sense. It's like 50% is the goal. And that's where you want to be pretty consistently. Sometimes there's down, it's going to bounce back. My confusion on my end, and I'm hoping that you can educate me. I'm hoping that you have the right answer to this, because it's been actually a big point of confusion, not just for me, but I feel like for a lot of our users on ProLine as well. And that is, how to calculate close rate correctly, because it seems that a lot of different companies calculate it differently. And so 50% for one company isn't necessarily mean the same thing as 50% for a different company. So how would you calculate close rate?
Well, it's based on the company. And that's another thing is when I hear how they calculate, if you're going to count every lead that's given to a sales rep, then, yes, your close rate might teeter towards the bottom. If you're going to do what we call an adjusted close rate, where you're taking out finance turndowns or no-shows, stuff like that.
Outside the rep's control.
But we call that adjusted close rate.
Yeah.
We need to know that it's been adjusted based on certain variables. So a close rate should always be outside of anything that was canceled before they got there. I'll always take that out because the sales rep, unless the sales rep made the phone call to confirm or they made the phone call for whatever reason, if the sales rep contacts that homeowner for any reason, it counts. But if it cancels before they contacted them, we'll take that on.
We'll take that out. So first you have all opportunities that they did engage with.
Yeah.
And that's close rate. And then you have adjusted close rate, which is going to take out all the disqualified or the things outside their control.
Right.
Finance turndown, stuff like that. So the next aspect on this that I see a lot of variation on is the time frame of the data collection. So fundamentally you have two numbers in close rate, right? You have the opportunities, and however you want to define that, adjusted or non-adjusted, number of opportunities, and then you have the number of sales, right? And you're dividing the number of sales by the opportunities, and that's giving you the percentage.
Yeah.
So that's the really simple calculation, but one of the things that's been a big point of confusion for me and a lot of our users is in what time frames or where are you pulling these two sets of data from? So what I see a lot of companies want to do is they want to just say, okay, for the last 30 days, we're going to just look at the last 30 days, and we had 100 opportunities in those 30 days, and then we made 50 sales in those last 30 days, and so we're going to divide 50 by 100. That gives us 50%. Now, so that's a 50% close rate. However, the thing with that approach is that not all, or maybe even most of those 50 sales were not from those 100 opportunities. They were from opportunities last month, month before. And so would you consider that to be the correct way to calculate close rate, or do you think that there's an issue with that calculation?
So I will allow the sales rep to game it. If you want to set the rules, there are certain rules that you allow a sales rep to game the system. So if they're going to go and bring another job in because they didn't close last night's job, but then they had the opportunity to follow up and close another job, they keep their close rate. And so, the number of sales versus the number of appointments that month.
Yeah.
If what you're going to do is be so strict and the appointments given that month and the appointments sold that month based on what's given that month, you're really just stressing your sales reps out for no reason at all. So allow them to game the system. Do you really care where that sale came from? I don't. As long as it was a sale and it's profitable, I don't care. As long as I gave them 100 leads and they closed 50 sales.
Yeah.
I really don't care where the sales came from. Now, one thing that we're going to take out are like repairs. You got to take those out because those, you want to keep your average sale high.
Yeah.
And so again, you take and separate your repairs from your full jobs or full roofs.
Yeah. Look at those separately so they're not able to kind of like throw a little cheap repair in and throw the number. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So it does make a lot of sense. So one of the currently, and this is something that we're kind of examining, so we're probably going to make some changes, but currently our default close rate calculation ProLine is actually cohort based. So it's just looking at the given month and only the opportunities in that month, how many closed. And so over time, you go back 6 months, that close rate is going to be higher than it is for the current month because over time you sell more in that cohort. Do you think that's still a valuable measurement? And what would you call that?
You got your rolling 30s, rolling 60s, rolling 90s. If you're going to do a rolling 6 months, whatever it is, it's still close rate. How many appointments did you give them? How many sales did they make?
Yeah.
You have too many companies that put too much into it.
Yeah.
The math is simple.
Just keep the
Then don't make it any harder than it is, and allow your people to celebrate good wins.
Yeah. So that makes sense. That clears some things up for me. So I appreciate that. I like your point of let the sales reps game it, because they will game it.
There will.
But no matter what you do, they're going to game it.
Yeah.
Right.
But as long as you are in control of the game, it's okay.
You kind of need to give them that outlet almost. Yeah.
They feel good when they feel like they outsmarted the system. And in the back of your mind is like, I lit you.
Right. And it's still communicating the same thing, because you can see if they're consistently only hitting the 30%, I mean, there's still, no matter what way you cut the numbers, it means that they're not closing enough. Right? Even if they do have they game it, maybe they have a random 60% close month, if they're still consistently at 30,
right?
You can look at the big picture and you can tell.
That's right.
Yeah. No matter what. Wolf. Yeah, that's fantastic. What would you say going into 2026? What are the top 3 things that, from an owner's perspective, as they're wanting to optimize their sales team and their sales leadership, what would you say the top 3 things that owners need to be thinking about in 2026?
The first thing that owners need to be thinking about is the same thing they need to be thinking about in any, I don't care what year, what month it is cash flow. Yeah. Second is, do you have recording software? Like we use Xero, and Xero is amazing. It's easy to use, but you have to have game film. We were just doing a talk yesterday, and I says, the NFL has game film, and they're better because of it. Could you imagine if you went in and say, okay, Roger Goodell is now saying that it is illegal in NFL to use game film. Half the people would probably be let go because they don't need them anymore, because that's their purpose is game film.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now the owners are trying to figure out, like, now we're all blind. Like, these game film is how things are won. Well, that's the same way that most people are playing right now and have been playing for many years, is they don't have game film. It's all, well, I did that. That's what I did. Knowing that they didn't do that in the house. But we have no reason to say, no, you didn't. Or we have no reason to say, hey, we learned this, we were taught this, and for whatever reason, it's not working. Well, but they're closing, so let's just keep going. Well, now we have all the data that we need. But not only that, is you have the ability, once you leave, Xero tells you how to follow up. So it makes things easy.
Yeah.
And whether you Xero or anything else, you need to have that technology inside of your business.
Yeah.
And then probably the third one is, we are really pushing that inside-outside model. We're building this in so many organizations right now, where the company isn't so reliant on the sales staff. Now you have an inside sales rep, then you have an outside sales rep that they work together, and then when the outside sales rep leaves, it goes right back to the inside sales rep, and they are held accountable for that appointment.
Yeah.
They have a combined close rate. So Amanda and Tommy, and Amanda also has 2 other Tommies. So she has 3 sales reps that she manages, not like sales manager, but she manages their production. And so they together need to work on their close rate. And so when you have that, now you don't have sales reps like, I wonder if they're really following up. They're sales rep. They're not following up. They called 3 times and then they said, I followed up.
3 times. That's the average right there. Yeah.
That's probably the most I've seen a sales rep follow up. Now, I know there's going to be sales reps, oh man, I follow up all the time. You're still cherry picking on the ones that you do call more.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think whether it's an inside rep model or an inside rep plus automation, we're very big on the sales follow-up automation. So, but whichever way you cut it, I was just talking to a roofing company this morning about it. Actually, it's like, it's not realistic to have your reps doing that follow-up, and you're just going to stress them out trying to force them to do it. So you got to find some solution to take that off their plate, and because it has to get done. Not following up is not the option.
Right.
So I love whichever way you want to cut. If you want to have an inside rep, I think the model that we really push, that I think aligns well with you, is like, you probably don't need an inside rep for every outside rep, because you can have an inside rep that's heavily assisted by AI and automation that can be very efficient and it can get all this done, but they're in the cockpit monitored. So I guess, well, that's a good question to kind of to wrap this up. But how do you feel about automation and AI in the sales process?
As long as they don't think that the AI is going to close the job. AI is not going to close the job. Yeah. AI will keep it moving, but you better watch it, because we've seen it. Everybody has seen it, where AI, because it's technology, and it can go awry.
Yep.
And before you know it, you've got a sale or a homeowner that's like, I don't know what you're doing, but you guys called me at 2 a.m. to try and follow up. Remember, AI doesn't know what time it is. AI doesn't know how many times it's followed up or how many times it's called. All it knows is it tells me I need to call right now. It's still a logic, so we still have to understand the limitations of what is available, what it's going to do. Yep. We use Alivo a lot. We love it, but we've also seen some issues on our own end, because they're meant for big sales organizations, and we want them to help us with our coaching organization. And so, but we've seen some issues where it's taken us a different route. Well, we engineered it that way, and we realized that, you know what, I should have asked it to do this instead of asking it to do that.
Yeah.
Remember, it's still only going to do what you ask it to do.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that we've sort of narrowed in on is you got to keep AI in the box. Like, it's got to be very focused, and you can't expect it to go outside that box, and it needs to be confined to the box. And so it's great, like, can apply it here. But like you're saying, accountability, the human has to be accountable.
Yeah.
For the outcome.
Somebody told me once that treat every AI agent like it's your 5-year-old kid. You're always going to watch it. You're always going to pay attention to it. You're going to keep it in line. You're only going to say so much to it.
Yeah.
If you're going to give it its proper instruction, because if you don't give it proper instruction, it's going to do what it wants to do.
Yeah.
So treat it like it's your 5-year-old kid.
Yeah. And that's a good mindset. It's a 5-year-old kid with a PhD with a PhD in English, but
That's right.
It's like it may not talk like a 3-year-old, but it does act like a 3-year-old.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Chuck. This has been a pleasure.
Yes, this was fun.
Absolutely.